once again from the Illegal Shift Studio. It is another edition of the One More and I'm Out of Here podcast. Big day for me. I got brand new mic, brand new chair, and I'm going to christen this microphone right now. There you go. First beer on the new mic. How about that?
I.e. ruin it.
And my screen just went blank. Perfect timing.
Here we are.
What are you going to do?
Well, welcome to the world of technology.
Point of personal privilege for all of those watching the podcast today that are not in Cincinnati. I don't know what you were doing yesterday, but I had to work last night, but just talking to friends, colleagues, people that I work with, people that I know who were there, business associates. It was an unbelievably great day in the city of Cincinnati yesterday. Reds baseball, opening day parade. Banks was absolutely stacked and packed. Great sellout crowd at the ball game. And the Reds beat the Nationals 8-2. It was everything you could possibly ask for in a opening day baseball game, and a great, great tradition that we have in the city of Cincinnati.
I agree.
It was fantastic.
I was busy. I'm Jason, by the way. Let me do that.
Nice one.
Yeah, busy yesterday with a bunch of foreign exchange students and some local students at the firehouse, which
all legal.
Foreign exchange
okay,
students.
Okay.
Not illegals. We didn't have illegals.
Just checking.
Jeez, oh Pete. But I got to tune into the Reds game like probably 30 to 40 minutes after it started. I saw it 3-0. I was like, hell yes.
Hell yeah, baby.
Hell yeah. And then I go to clean something up. I turn around 7-0. Just like that. I missed the home run. But no, yesterday is a national holiday for Cincinnatians, and our Reds won. Had a great time with the foreign exchange students that we had. I do want to give a shout out to the Sister City Munich Association, who Cincinnati is sister cities with Munich, and they got to go down to, apparently from what I was told, the city hall, got to meet the mayor, got to go down to the fire museum. They came and spent the day with us from 8 to 5 yesterday. Let them cut up some cars. Did all kinds of fun stuff.
So if they're sister city firefighters, why aren't they hanging out in a Cincinnati house? And why are they hanging out at your house?
Well, I think our chief Amos Johnson is very proactive, and I don't know exactly how it came about, but they reached out to him, and he said we would be gracious enough to host them.
Well, that's nice. Is it a multi-day experience for them, or is it just one day with you, or do they
one day with us,
spend one day with Cincinnati, one day with you, one day with another department?
And it's not even just fire. It's not even these are just high school students, not even just people interested in fire.
I see. Okay.
So they're just giving the experience of, all right, here's what an American firehouse looks like. I mean, even though ours isn't as busy as some others, but I think we gave them a great experience. I think they're going ziplining today.
Nice.
Like, they have all kinds of activities.
Have you ever ziplined?
I have.
It's fun.
I feel like, I liked it. I enjoyed it.
The one time I did it, went to this place in Indiana called Degas Acres, and they've got a whole zip line course that goes through. You go through these tree tops and over some valleys and stuff like that. Pretty cool. It was big fun. I liked it a lot.
I did it in Jamaica, which was absolutely phenomenal. That's my only zip lining experience, but
fire up a blunt and away you go.
A few years from now, Dan.
Few years from now. It's legal. It's legal, man. That stuff's not frowned upon anymore. Smoke all the dope you want.
I actually got I got the card of the lady that's in charge of this whole extravaganza. And man, that lady's busy. She is super busy getting with host families, getting everything figured out.
I'll bet.
I don't even want to try to pronounce her name to get it wrong, but we talked, and they do an exchange for firefighters to go over and hang out with German fire departments. So I'm going to be looking into that.
Very cool. They all speak in English?
Yeah, I don't have to speak German. I was like,
I was going to say, how's your German?
No. How does fucking terrible sound in German?
You know, the thing that I learned in my time overseas when I was in the military is that a lot of schools in other countries spend time teaching their kids English because you know, the United States is a dominant country. We speak English, and a lot of schools recognize that speaking English is going to be such an advantage to those kids long time for their entire lives. It's going to be one of the greatest benefits they can possibly have. So there's when I was in Japan, there was a lot of people there who can at least speak some level of English, and just about anyone that you run into on the street, you can figure out a way to communicate with them. You know, and I tried to learn a little Japanese when I was over there, but it's like Ellie De La Cruz, who's on the Reds, came here last year, didn't speak a word of English, spent the entire offseason practicing learning how to speak English on his own, and then the day of the game does an entire press conference in English talking with reporters. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I heard him say, like, it was very important to him to be able to learn how to speak English and not have an interpreter, which is kind of funny with everything that's happening in the news right now.
Did he actually say, I'm glad I don't have an interpreter?
No, I'm adding that in.
But I did see that Pete Rose comment that we forgot to talk about the other day.
I know.
But no, Pete Rose. I mean, that's hilarious.
Well, why would you not? Why would you not say that? I mean,
what?
John and I talked about it last night. I mean, why would you not say, well, if I had an interpreter in the 70s and 80s, I'd be scot-free, because they're putting fucking Ohtani on this pedestal because of the contract that he fucking signed.
What's the latest on that? I haven't I know he came out and denied it, said he didn't do anything. Major League Baseball, I am told, is doing a formal investigation. Is that true?
Yeah, they've got a huge investigation, because they're actually looking into whether he actually threw games. So they're going back and looking at his stats. And the one article that I read was pitching stats, as far as, and I can't remember the exact numbers, but where he was lights out, and all of a sudden he gives up, 10 hits, 3 runs, here and there. And
that's baseball, isn't it?
I'm making those numbers up, but they're looking at his stats, because there were a couple games that was it's a little bit, a little bit nefarious. It could be a little bit nefarious. So they're looking at it. But let's see. I got to get to.
Do we know of any hard evidence that they have yet?
There's no. I mean, it's under investigation, just like it always is. It's under investigation. But he has former players that are somewhat calling him out, and I'm trying to get the screen up real quick. But AJ Pierzynski, who I love, he's just a hard-nosed baseball player and was in the league for a long time. He's casting a little bit of doubt. So let me get into. God damn it! No, we got fucked by Fox.
I know Fox is putting everything behind a paywall now. Well, not a paywall, but they want you to subscribe,
and I don't want to do that.
I hate subscribing.
So I'll paraphrase, and you can go look it up for yourself. But AJ Pierzynski straight up said, he was like, I understand, people that have a lot of money don't necessarily pay attention to all of it. But when you start seeing big amounts of money to the tune of $4.5 million over multiple different times. This is what AJ Pierzynski said, because I think these payments came out over. It wasn't $4.5 million right off the rip. He's sitting there saying, like, you should have an idea what your money is. He goes, now I know people that have lost money from people that aren't, on the up and up where you think they are. You think they're your friends or whatever. He goes, those are usually the financial people, the agents that have access to your financials.
Yeah.
He goes, this fucking interpreter didn't have access to his financials. So when you start seeing all of these numbers coming out of your bank account, I don't care how much money you have, you're going to realize that it happened.
At some point, you might ask a question about that.
I told John last night, I said, I'm a dumb fucking fireman. But I watch my bank account, and if something doesn't seem right, I'm going to call my bank and I'm going to question it, because I don't have people to handle my own money, because I don't need to.
Yeah.
Because I don't make that money. But the fact that all of these transactions came out, so the fact that another Major League Baseball player, a very successful Major League Baseball player, by the way, can call some bullshit on this, like, hey, they need to be looking into this.
So at that time, he was playing for the Anaheim Angels. And
then
how big was his contract then? Pretty big?
I don't have the numbers for that one.
But the Dodgers signed him to the biggest contract ever in baseball.
$700 million.
Yeah.
Over 10 years.
Which he's only taken like $4 million this year, right?
Correct. He pushed most of it out till after the contract.
To leave space for the right cap room and all that kind of shit.
Between that and then take care of himself after the fact. Which is a good plan. Like, and I said this, on Illegal Shift. It's a great plan. And he was very smart about the way he structured, him and his agent structured a contract.
But if this dude's blowing $500,000 at a pop, and you're only pulling down $4 million a year, that's a pretty big chunk. It's a pretty big bite.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might notice that.
I would hope.
But if he was rolling in the dough with, and again, I don't know what kind of money he was making when he was playing for Anaheim, but I don't know, $500,000 might not get your attention that much.
But at multiple shots,
yeah,
to the tune of $4.5 million, yeah, that's going to grab somebody's attention.
And if he didn't have people around him,
and this motherfucker says, I know he's involved one way or another. You and I are very good friends. And if you gamble here and there, very, 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 very minuscule comparatively to the people that we know.
Oh, yeah, on sports betting, yeah.
But if we're best friends and you're translating for me and you're asking me for money, sure, there's going to be sometimes where it's like, oh, yeah, here, just take this, just, do with it what you will. But when it comes up to the point of $4.5 million, do you not think I'm going to know that there's an issue?
Well, yeah.
But this guy,
absolutely,
he's trying to play himself as he's pure as the wind-driven snow, and that's bullshit.
Well, I guess that was part of my question too, because I'll be honest, I haven't followed this story all that closely. But do we know? I guess number one, he's got to have an agent. I'm sure he's got an accountant or a financial advisor of some sort. There's probably more people around him that we don't know about. Is it possible that they were all working together to skim money off of his account for these gambling ventures or whatever, hoping to turn it around and make more money for themselves? Is it possible that he was caught unawares by this? That he was somehow blinded by this because the people around him were doing this behind his back? Is that a possibility?
Well, I think it's absolutely a possibility. But you as the person, if that's my fucking money, I'm watching it. I think you're ignorant if you don't. So He can plead ignorance all he wants.
But all I'm saying is I can see where if you've got that kind of money, you can get into the habit where, I talk to, I don't know, I talk to Mr. Jones every 3 or 4 days. We talk about how my accounts are looking. He tells me what I want to hear over the phone, and that's the end of it. This guy, I'm relying on this guy to tell me everything's okay. He's telling me everything is okay when it turns out it's not okay. But Ohtani hasn't he hasn't played that card as far as I know. I'm just throwing that out there that's a possibility.
No,
when you're at that kind of level of having money, things operate a little differently than they operate for me and you.
No, I completely agree with you in the fact that they operate differently. But if I'm making that money, I want to know I'm going to watch it. And maybe just the way that I'm very frivolous with some of the shit that I do, money-wise.
That first beer went down fast.
Fuck yeah, dude.
It's a Friday, though.
We got a new little cooler underneath here, or refrigerator. It's kind of nice.
Oh, and you might have also noticed our One More and I'm Out of Here podcast banner up on the wall here at the Illegal Shift Studio,
covering up O.J. Simpson.
Looking very good. I was gonna tease that a little bit and say there's something very, very cool underneath the banner. And for the right amount of money, we might take that banner down. If the right amount of money flows into the One More and I'm Out of Here account, we may reveal that.
Oh, here, I'll start holding my breath. No, you and I operate differently on a different level than those upper echelon do, and I understand that. I get that. But I'm still watching my fucking money. And if my best friend's, my supposed best friend, his interpreter, he was making bets in the hometown that Ohtani's from. So he's making bets with Japanese bookmakers over where he lives. That's already been stated, proven, done. I don't understand how Ohtani did not know that this was happening. But Major League Baseball is not gonna allow him to say, "Yeah, I did know." This is going to be one of those. It gets brushed under the rug because it's the biggest professional contract ever signed.
Yeah, I just think about when I heard the story about Michael Jackson, and he would go out on these spending sprees and just buy, this beyond extravagant art and things for his home and Never Land and all that kind of crap, that he would just go out and spend all that and he wouldn't give it a second thought because he had accountants, because he had people that looked after his money, and that process was they watch. I make the money, they watch after it. I spend what I want, and there will always be money there. And then it got to the point to where he was, I guess, kind of getting broke, didn't have a lot of money.
That fucking orangutan started eating a bunch of oranges.
But I'm just saying, I remember hearing that story, and that's kind of when my eyes were open to this whole notion that the people that have that kind of money, I'm sure there's some. I would imagine the Trumpster keeps very close watch over what he has. But I think some people can get into that thing where that's someone else's job. I don't worry about the credit card bill. I don't worry about paying taxes. I don't worry about it. I have people to take care of that shit.
But I a lot of them do. And look at the amount of NFL players that go broke.
Mm-hmm.
We always see that stat, 5 years after they're out of the league, they're broke, bankrupt, working at a car wash or doing whatever the fuck it is they're doing. I want the opportunity to not have to give a fuck about my money.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I just put it up there, but Joe Billy said,
that's why I bought that lottery ticket.
I'd love to have enough money to not even realize that $4.5 million is missing. Yes, that would be fucking lovely. But when
$4 million, yeah, that's
but
all right.
When you're in Major League Baseball,
that's just another game check.
The quote unquote purest sport, to where Pete Rose is getting fucked
Yeah.
because of all of this shit. And then the memes that are coming out with Ohtani and Pete Rose, I think are absolutely hysterical, where they're morphing Ohtani and Pete Rose's face together on a baseball card. But he's got, I mean, Rose has a valid point. Now, I said this, and again, I said it in a legal shift last night. Everybody around here lost their minds, but pump the brakes, because you have to figure out, did he bet on baseball for one? Was Ohtani involved, first and foremost? Baseball bet, two. And how do you, who's in charge of that guy? Because the Dodgers hired that guy. Now, it was Ohtani's best friend. But everybody here is getting up in arms. I'm like, well,
did the same guy work for Ohtani when he was with the
I don't know.
with Anaheim?
That I don't. I mean, I think, but I'm not positive. But there's so much more to come out. But
because he's only been signed with LA since what, the first of the year?
Yeah. But us as
so I mean that's that from the first of the year till today.
But
that's not a very big chunk of time.
But the biggest contract ever.
Yeah.
Ever. But us as Cincinnatians, I've been reading a ton on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. Everybody lost their shit.
I wonder what the signing bonus was.
I'll pull it up.
I don't know.
I'll pull it up.
I don't know what it was.
Anyway,
but that's
all right.
A world that we don't live in. And
it's definitely a world that we don't live in.
You brought up Pete Rose, and I remember I'm such a hardcore Pete Rose guy that I didn't care what the Dowling report said. I didn't care what the Paul Giamatti said. I didn't care what all the hangers on who were around Pete Rose, all the people that were dropping dime on. I didn't care what any of them said. I said, I'm not going to believe it until I hear it from Pete Rose himself. And it took a while, but he finally fessed up to it. And I still love Pete Rose and think he should be in the Hall of Fame. But that was a tough pill to swallow, man, when he came out and said, yeah.
Yeah, he
came out and
he lied about it at first.
Finally owned it, yeah.
But
that was tough.
But he also owned it, but he also did not bet against himself.
That's true.
Which is if there's a silver lining. I mean, obviously there's rules and he violated the rules, and I get that. Let's see. Try to get your answer to the question that you asked. Ohtani earned $42,269,259 in the 6 seasons with the Angels after receiving a signing bonus of $2,315,000 with his initial deal. His salaries, that's an old one.
So $42 million over how many years? 6 years.
Well, that was his Angels.
With the
deal.
Angels,
that was his Angels deal.
Yeah.
This motherfucker swimming. He's like fucking Scrooge McDuck swimming in money.
Well, $42 million over 6 years is only what, $7 million a year, right? Am I doing my math right?
Probably not, but we'll go with it.
Somewhere around there. So I would think, money coming out $500,000 at a time would be highly noticeable. Right?
$4.5 million.
I'm looking at my balance. I got $14 million in here. Then I go back, 5 or 10 days later, and then all of a sudden I've got $12.5 million. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on there.
That's the whole point. I mean, when you start getting into big numbers, it doesn't fucking matter. You should be knowing what's happening with your fucking money. Now, granted, you have people to manage it, and if you trust the people that manage it, they should be like, hey, Ohtani,
yeah,
we have a problem.
No, I agree. That's
something's
what I'm
happening. Fucking morons.
I don't know. So I guess we'll just wait for the investigation. And we'll find out what the deal is.
I cannot wait. Peter Edward Rose. This might be your day of reckoning.
Belongs in the Hall of Fame.
I agree.
But that's it. But when you look at the hypocrisy of Major League Baseball as it relates
hypocrisy
to Pete Rose,
is a perfect word.
They're able to, when they have different events like the greatest 100 players in baseball. They let Pete Rose on the field for that. When they have their All-American Dream Team, or they do the special things for the All-Star game, they can find their way to let Pete Rose participate in those things. So when it's good for them, when it helps their bottom line, yeah, Pete Rose, come on. Yeah, please be part of the celebration. But are we going to let you in the Hall of Fame? No. I mean, that's a bunch of crap, if you ask me.
Well, they're capitalizing. They're capitalizing.
Well, sure they are.
On his fucking name.
Well, sure they are. So it's okay for them to be able to earn money on his name. But on the other side of that coin is they want to screw him over if he tries to capitalize on that for himself.
Yeah. What's good for the goose is not good for the gander, apparently. Hey, that new mic looks good on you, by the way.
You think so? You like it? New mic.
You look a lot more comfortable.
Got our One More and I'm Out of Here podcast band. I am a lot more comfortable.
You're not touching shit nearly as much as you.
Well, the chair I sat on before, it required a giant pillow under my ass because, I mean, it's a nice chair, but it's a little hard. It's a little hard. So now I got, like a regular office chair.
This actually probably mimics a little bit more your 700 WOW shit.
Probably a little closer.
A little closer.
But
you sound better.
I would rather be at, you know what I would rather be doing? I would rather be doing the podcast, the way we did them in the early days, where we literally sat at the corner of the bar and sat around doing the podcast.
Yeah.
I would much rather be doing. I mean, not that I'm complaining at all about what you've got set up here. I'm not throwing any shade on that at all. But I still think that was for what we wanted our podcast to be in the very beginning. The three of us literally sitting at the bar, and our buddy behind the bar getting beers for us. That was to me, that was the shit. That was like, yeah, we are literally in a bar drinking beer, doing a podcast. Doesn't get any better than that.
No, I agree with you. Yeah. One of these days, we'll be back there. This is a subtle substitute to that.
I know.
I'm gonna give
but the banner does look good.
The banner does look good.
I'm touching it. It's a real banner. Touching it.
I'm going to give a quick Rob update. Went down and saw the old boy today. He is more alert, somewhat cognitive as far as like yes and no questions. He's there. He's just he can't exude exactly what he wants to get out. But he got moved from the hospital. Now he's in a rehab facility where they are literally going to work his balls off. His first
little physical therapy, you mean?
His first session of therapy this morning was at 7 a.m.
Yeah, baby.
I'm like, Jesus Christ, I'm just getting off work. Have fun with that. We got down there around 9-ish, 9:15-ish. Asked if he was hurting anywhere. He said no. Shook his head no. Answering some questions and trying to speak. So we are slowly but surely making some strides, which is good. So got a long road to hoe, but his place, I mean, the place he's in is great. It's looks good. Plenty of people around versus the other place he was in where we couldn't find anybody outside of the hospital. But no, Rob's there. He's trying to fight his way out. So all the prayers and vibes, keep him going. We would appreciate it. We need our boy back. I don't know how like I said, well, we have a bigger desk. We might be able to fit 3 in here. I don't know. Maybe.
Well,
if not,
wouldn't be able to see the banner.
We'll figure out.
Wouldn't be able to see the One More and I'm Out of Here banner. That's for sure.
We'll figure out another venue. But Rob's on the mend. Slowly, but surely, but please keep throwing positive vibes out there.
Yeah, and
Do whatever it is you do.
The Hurricanes Hero event we had a couple of weeks ago has really gone a long way, I think, into easing the burden a little bit for him and his family. And one of the reasons that that event turned out to be as good as it was is because of our buddy Dan Varner. And Dan Varner and his group, the Varner Netherton Revival. And the boys are together again. They are really making the best music of their lives. Cincinnati's own Dan Varner has hooked up again with his longtime friends, Nick, Brad, and Rye. And Varner Netherton is just kicking butt all over the place. They got clubs. They play in Nashville, Cincinnati, Louisville, Lexington, every place in between. And they play small shows, big shows, doesn't matter. They'll come to your backyard. I've seen, you and I have both seen Dan Varner literally set up next to someone's backyard pool and
Absolutely.
And play a gig there. And that's the kind of stuff he does. And it is such a great time. The Varner Netherton Revival. You can go on their website and see where they're playing. And if you're having a great time at their show, you can also book them for your event. So it's a big deal. Find a show near you, and to find out more how you can see their show and then maybe have them come play at your event, the website is varnernetherton.com. That's varnernetherton.com. You can go on there and get all the information you need for the Varner Netherton Revival.
Nicely played, sir.
Great sponsor of the podcast.
Yes. Definitely helps us out. What do you got, Dan?
Well, in honor of our buddy Rob Herking, who's not here, got a little transgender news. Transgenderism has been a huge debate recently, especially for trans women in sports. There are some people who have common sense and don't like the idea. There are other people who like to think that it's not that big of a deal. In Australia, there are some soccer fans there who are very, very upset because apparently a team of 5 transgender girls just won a big soccer tournament in Sydney. The women torched their competition, winning every single game. The game scores reveal the dominant team of trans girls. So they're actually dudes pretending to be girls. They in one game the score was 4-0. One of the girls scored a goal 6 times. These girls represent the Flying Bats FC, which calls itself the biggest LGBTQIA+ women's and non-binary football club in the world. So that's great. That is just fine and dandy. You've got a bunch of dudes pretending to be women, and they're playing in a women's soccer league, and they're out there and they're winning all these games. And there's pictures and all this stuff, and they've got their medals, and they're all so very proud. And it looks like, I don't know if it's I guess it's some sort of professional league, because there's one picture where they're holding a giant check.
I wish you just sent me that
So
picture.
they're playing for money, and you've got, and how many soccer players are on the field at one time?
I don't follow soccer. I
don't know. Is it 10, 11?
I have no idea. I don't follow soccer.
So you could have a women's game, a women's team, and they've got 5 dudes on the field playing against a bunch of women at one time. And they're just crushing this league.
I love the fact pretending to be women.
Well, of course they are.
God, I wish you sent me that fucking picture.
And then there was another one. Let me see if I can find this one. Here's let's see. A transgender weightlifter won the Masters National Weightlifting Championship in Reno. He came in first in the women's 76 kilogram weight category.
Just the way he said that. He came in first in the women's.
Vicky Piper, 57, beat the second place finisher, with a 127.17 ahead of Krista Dornbush. I have no idea what that means.
If you hadn't won, I'd have been pissed off at you even more.
But Vicky Piper, a male, competed as a woman at the Masters National Weightlifting Championships this weekend, Reno, Nevada. Won first place, beating out all the other women. Let's see. I'm waiting for this. Vicky's a cheater, not a winner. Why are women standing for this? Yeah. So, if you're a woman and you've got these dudes out there, I mean, and we've seen it, in swimming, bicycle racing, weightlifting now. And you've seen the videos where you've got the Ultimate Fighters.
Oh, yeah.
Right? These women trying to fight dudes. It's ugly. It's horrendous. So you've got all these different organizations coming out. And I mean, look at this.
David J. said, Dan, never forget that Spain faked a Special Olympics team.
I mean, it's ridiculous. So, again, no evidence whatsoever that trans women have an advantage over regular women. Just that there's just simply no evidence to support that claim at all. And I think that's what we really need to remember.
That's what we need to remember.
So there's a little bit of craziness in the world. What's the other one? There's the other one is I was reading about the city council. Do you know what they're doing in New York City now with the illegals? They want to give them debit cards, prepaid debit cards.
Yeah.
$10,000 on each card. Oh, you're in New York City? You're illegal? Here's your debit card worth $10,000.
So
have fun spending that money.
So let me ask you this question real quick. I'm in the midst of figuring out an address change. Like I started changing my address. But if I'm not completely documented at a certain address, can I go up to New York for a week?
Maybe.
Get a debit card, then come back and finish my shit.
How's your Spanish dialect?
It's not great. It's not great.
You might have a hard time passing yourself off as an illegal.
Donde está el baño? Where's the bathroom?
There you go. That's a good one.
That's all I need to know.
Donde está el baño? That means where is the bathroom?
I mean,
I do remember that much Spanish.
I mean, I might be able to grab $10,000. What they call a smash and grab, where in the lower income cities, smash and grab.
It's not frowned on in San Francisco or New York City.
Shouldn't be an issue, I wouldn't think.
But also, speaking of New York, out on Long Island, there was a wake for the New York police officer who was killed in the line of duty the other day. And so Donald Trump wound up going to the wake and paying his respects. Joe Biden also went to New York, but he didn't go to pay respects. He went to collect money. So he had a big fundraiser. And that, I think, really spells out one of the major differences between these two individuals. You got Trump, who went there, met with the family, mourned with them. Just an unbelievable loss. This guy leaves behind a wife and a boy who's a year old, maybe just slightly older.
He's what, three years on the force?
Is that what it was?
I believe it was 3 years on the force. I shared the article that I pulled up.
Yeah, but it's just absolutely horrendous. And a lot of the Democrats and the left has come out talking about how Trump made this a campaign event for himself, and nothing could be further from the truth. He also went and through the Tunnel to Towers Foundation, made a donation and Dave Portnoy of Barstool Sports
Oh, I saw that.
raised over $1 million for her and for this family. And then through Trump's donation, the mortgage of Jonathan Diller has been paid off. And I think they established a college fund for his young son.
So, Cincy 513, I knew it was perfect timing when he came in to the chats when we hit that. Just ironic. Cincy 513 said he was probably in town for a court case. Well, yeah, he probably was. Not going to dispute that fact. But the fact that your commander-in-chief was at a $500,000 a person fucking, I say $500,000 a person, but complete and utter fucking ridiculous fundraiser with Biden, Obama, and Clinton.
Mm-hmm.
None of them showed up to that poor man's funeral. So you can say whatever the fuck you want. I think it's bullshit. Trump at least made whether he was in town for a court case or not, made the effort. It's effort, not even money. Effort. Made the fucking effort. So you can say what you want, buddy. Love you to death, but that's bullshit. Literally within 50 miles of wherever this funeral was happening, our president couldn't even show up for a fallen officer while he was there. I'm not saying he has to show up for every fallen cop or fireman or, congressman, whatever. He was in the area. So I think that's fucking horseshit.
And then Corinne Jean-Pierre was asked about this, and she goes to the typical fallback position that we have to do something about gun violence in this country. But to my way of thinking, and really what Trump said was that, we need to have respect for law and order. We need to have respect for these police officers. It was only a few weeks ago we saw New York City police officers getting jumped and stomped on and literally beaten the hell out of on the streets of New York City by a group of illegal aliens.
Yeah, that's normal. That's okay.
Where was the outrage from the mayor on that? Where was the outrage from the New York City Council on that? There was none. And so they get maligned and they get spit on and they get called bad names on a regular basis. And every time you turn around, you've got another investigation. You've got someone looking over your shoulder. This dude who they believe shot this police officer has 21 priors.
Yeah.
21 prior arrests. The other guy that was in the car, he's a little bit better. He's only got 14.
Yeah, I was going to say there's another piece of shit.
Yeah. So between the two of them, they've got 35 prior arrests. At what point is enough? At what point do you say, Alvin Bragg, you've got to do your job and lock these cocksuckers up? At what point does that happen? The guy had a bulletproof vest on. The bullet went in just under his vest.
And
so he was gut shot.
Yeah, because those vests come over just over the fucking belly button, so they're still exposed area. And
so he was gut shot, and even though they threw him in the cruiser and took him to the hospital, he was dead on arrival.
Right. Yeah. But here's the thing: you also have these people that with the fucking assholes that want to jump cops in Times Square and whatever, and you wonder why all these police officers don't want to fucking work there anymore, because they have no upper support. And then when the commander-in-chief, which we've talked about before, is just a figurehead, can't even show up to pay his respects to the wife and the family of that guy while he's in the area. It's not even asking him to come from Washington, D.C. to there. He was already there. I don't understand why that's such a fucking big deal. You can divert your plans a little bit. Yes, you have a fundraiser for your campaign. Get it. Understand that. They'll understand also if you're late. Fuck you. And it's not even a Trump thing. Insert President XYZ or ex-President XYZ. Show the fuck up. If you're in the area, you show the fuck up to show that family that you support them. It's frustrating as shit. Because you have Cincy 513 who wants to pull everything. We're not pulling it necessarily Trump. Trump showed up. Yeah, he did. But insert, I'll just say Jimmy Carter. If Jimmy Carter was able to fucking form a sentence and fucking show up. If Jimmy Carter would have showed up, I'd have been like, that's fucking awesome. I think that's the right thing to do.
Yeah, no doubt. And Andrew
but
McCarthy,
Trump showed up and our current president did not. That's
Andrew McCarthy wrote a great piece on this in National Review. And here's part of what he wrote. He talks about progressive Democrats have pushed for laws to defund the police, to redefine. Remember that when they were all talking about we need to redefine what policing is, right? To make it more difficult to arrest and detain violent and habitual criminals, to increase the paperwork police must complete merely for stopping someone on the street who is acting suspiciously. And that's something that we used to do here in Cincinnati called proactive policing. And there was a time when crime was, for all intents and purposes, practically non-existent in the city of Cincinnati. The city of Cincinnati was one of the departments across the country that pioneered this idea of proactive policing. And through regular patrols, regular beats that these police officers were on every single day, right? So when you go spend time in the same neighborhood and you're a police officer and you're in that neighborhood every single day, you see what goes on, you get to meet the people, you get to know the people, you know who lives there, you know who doesn't live there, you know who the good guys are, you have a pretty good idea who the bad guys are, and you know when something isn't right. And so these police officers, using that experience of being in that neighborhood every single day, were usually, a lot of times, not all the time, but a lot of times, able to sniff out an issue, sniff out a problem, and step in before something really bad happened. And it worked for a long time. But then all of a sudden, we had to pretend like it didn't work. We had to pretend like it was racial profiling. We had to pretend like that it wasn't equal to everyone because they were spending more time in certain neighborhoods and making sure that the shit didn't hit the fan. Well, when that went away, well, then crime in Cincinnati, now we've got our share of crime here too that goes on all the time. And it wasn't that long ago, we had video of people walking down the street, minding their own business, getting jumped by thugs. And we've got our share of brutal murders and killings that happen here too. So McCarthy's talking about that. So that, this is the New York version of how this happens. But he's talking about, police having to do all this paperwork just for stopping someone who's acting suspiciously. These liberals want to grant convicted criminals early release. Progressive legislators in the city, at the city and state levels, have rebuff calls by the mayor. He was a Democrat. I mean, Eric Adams, who's the mayor of New York City, is a Democrat and a former cop. So I had hope for this guy when he first came into office. Now he's sitting there talking about how we need to restore some of the laws we had and stuff like that. But it's a day late and a dollar short. And he goes on to write, Andrew McCarthy does, the disastrous criminal justice reform laws with easily foreseeable consequences enacted by New York's progressive Democrats are exacerbated by progressive prosecutors such as Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg. They promote the absurd fiction of systemic racism in the justice system, a system that is dominated by graduates of America's progressive law schools. The enforcement practices of progressive DA's offices in blue cities, unless you're Donald Trump, call for the alternatives to prosecution and the downgrading of serious crimes to trivial ones in plea negotiations. So that is why you have guys. I mean, can you imagine? I don't know how many times you've been arrested in your life, but can you imagine
Couple.
being arrested 21 times?
Nope.
21 times? And then this guy had no business having a gun. So, when the stats come out every Monday about how many people get shot in Chicago on a regular weekend, and any given weekend, it's 15, 20, 25, 30, 40 people getting killed I never hear Corinne Jean-Pierre talk about blaming gun violence for that.
Well, it's because she doesn't.
That's just par for the course.
Because she doesn't give any answers
give
to
a shit.
anything. She doesn't give any answers to anything. Fucking Sideshow Bob up in that bitch. She doesn't give answers to absolutely anything. Ducey will sit up and say something, and then we're not going to talk about that today.
Oh, so let's talk about this a little bit, because our buddy Zeke Arkham, who's been a guest on this show a couple of times, got into a little Twitter battle with some dude on the internet. Let me see if I can pull this up here. And so this guy's name is the guy he got into an argument with, goes by the handle Brooklyn Dad on the internet. And I only caught sort of the back end of this back and forth. But at one point, Zeke had enough of this guy. And yeah, you want to put that tweet up that he put up, and I'll attempt to read this.
I figure that's where you're going.
I mean, Zeke, he's a fantastic guest. He's 30 years or 15 years in law enforcement, and he doesn't take any shit from anyone. And here's what I guess he knows this guy's real name, and it's spelled Majid. Majid?
I would say Majid.
And Zeke writes, with every amount of disrespect I can muster, I'll say the same thing to you I said to Cuomo. You can go fuck yourself. You're the same guy who said, fuck the police, when the police union decided to support Trump. You then fake support because your Democrat crack suppliers told you to do so for the Capitol Police. No, Biden didn't come to the wake. His press secretary didn't even know Jonathan Diller's name. Biden is in the state right now. His detail could get him to Massapequa in 40 minutes, but he won't. They couldn't care less. Trump showed up. Trump called. Trump cared, just as he's done plenty of times in the past. The only campaign speech he made was to say the governing bodies have to do better with law and order, which they do. Diller's death is a sobering reminder of how much it's failed. Go back to smoking crack, you fucking loser. It appears to be what you do best. And so then this guy says, say what you will about Trump or Biden, but he would never use someone's wake for a campaign speech, unlike the other guy. That's fucking gross. And then Zeke wrote this. Do you have that part up? He replies, oh, and I'll tag you right now so you know I'm talking about you, MM Papadellin, whoever that is, whatever that handle is. And he writes, you chapped lips, underarm scratching, I'll suck yo dick for $1, bargain basement pokey. And I'm like, damn, Zeke. That's I said, you went ham on that dude.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, my God.
Which, I mean, not wrong.
You don't want to get Zeke's on. You don't want to get on the wrong side of Zeke, man. I mean, that dude can light you up in so many ways.
Well, and here's the thing: is I honestly, in my heart of hearts, don't think that Trump is doing that as a campaign thing. He doesn't need to. Trump hasn't really had to campaign at all because of all the dumb shit that Biden's doing. So Trump doesn't have to. He actually might have the cheapest campaign for a president because he doesn't need it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I know in 2016 he got so much free TV because they were. It's so funny to see, like Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski now. They're never Trumpers. They hate Trump. They get triggered every time he comes out and says something. But back in 2016, I mean, they were kissing his ass. I mean, they wanted to be invited to Mar-a-Lago. They wanted him on the show. They wanted to get their picture and have video taken with the Trumpster because it was so cool back then.
Isn't that funny how everything changes?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, Trump was never a racist before they started calling him a racist.
Right.
I mean, and there's all kinds of pictures and videos and everything else of Trump at these NAACP functions in New York City, and he's winning Man of the Year and getting medals and do all this stuff because he's done so much to further the black cause in New York City and all the rest of it. And, Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson and all the usual suspects are there clapping along and talking about how great Trump is. But now, that he's fixing to be president again. Well, he's a racist, and if you support him, then you're a racist too.
Right. Well, Cincy 513 says, yeah, he shows up and talks about how the election was stolen. How much has this
because it was stolen?
How much is quote unquote billionaire donated to any of the causes? He donates a shit ton of money. How much has Joe Biden donated? That's a question. Because I know Donald Trump donates money.
And he donated his entire presidential salary.
Yeah. Is Biden taking his salary?
Well, of course he is.
Answer that, Cincy 513. I'm curious. I'm very curious.
They used to come out, and every time there was a check issued to Trump for the work he did as president, the White House would send it to some charity or or they would divide it up and send X amount of money here and X amount of money there. And they always put out just a little statement about it. The presidential salary this month was donated to this charity, that charity, and that charity. And that was, and of course, it never got reported in the media, but that's what he did. He didn't need the money. He didn't do it for the money. And yeah, so there's so many out there who try to make the argument.
This is where that statement, though.
Trump used the presidency just to get rich.
Well,
now he was already rich.
Biden's been using the fucking government to get fucking rich for fucking 45, 50 fucking years. So
it's pretty well documented too.
Yeah. So be curious. Cincy 513, send me a DM that that Biden donated his shit. Frustrating. Stupid bullshit.
Yeah.
We all don't agree, and I love the fact that we don't all agree. And I love the chats. The chats are going back and forth, and I love that. But it's one of those things where, okay, so Trump shows up at the funeral, Biden does not. Biden goes to his little fundraiser. I said little fundraiser.
It was a Radio City Music Hall, man. Yeah. That's a big one.
It's a big fundraiser. Big one.
As Jesse Waters said, he's making it rain at Radio City Music Hall. So Biden shows up and then gets fucking protested. $500,000 a ticket. So I wasn't wrong in that number. Anti-Israel protesters heckle Biden during lavish $500,000 ticket New York City fundraiser with Obama, Clinton, all together. And I got the video. Are we going to play it?
No,
Post that pro-Palestinian.
Fuck. I thought it was the same video.
World of horrors. I'm not lying about any of this.
Here it is. So,
all those bodies you see on TV didn't really happen.
You're a liar.
And these people, you know what? You might as well claim that the United States didn't kill 100,000
Nazi.
people
You're a
and
Nazi
burned
bastard.
Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
I think I'd rather have been at the wake. So he has his little fundraiser with Clinton and Obama.
Yeah.
But can't take even 10 minutes. He can literally he's a commander in chief. He can say, I want to go 10 minutes. We need to fucking divert, figure your shit out. I understand all the logistics that have to be involved in that. I understand that. I get it.
Well, according to what I saw on Fox News last night,
This wake wasn't planned this morning, though.
right.
So he had plenty of time.
According to what I saw on Fox News last night, when he got to New York, the first thing he did, instead of going to the wake for Officer Diller and his family, he went and recorded a podcast with one of our fellow podcasters. So good get. You got Joe Biden on your podcast.
Right.
Congratulations.
Yeah. But
very special.
And let's just hypothetically say, even if he said 20 minutes before his fundraiser, I want to go there, they would make it happen.
Well, yeah, they would make it happen.
They would make it happen. He chose not to do it. Fuck you. You're a piece of shit. You're in the same area. Like I said, if he was in D.C., I wouldn't expect him to make the trip up to a fallen officer's funeral. Send a letter, do your thing. You're in the fucking city, close enough, you could figure it out. I'd be willing to pay, as a taxpayer, I'd be willing to pay for the change of venue for a second. It's ridiculous.
Well, the other thing that pisses me off is that they're going full steam ahead with these EPA mandates as far as vehicle emissions goes. So now you've got the states of California, Rhode Island, Maryland, Massachusetts, New Jersey, New York, Oregon, and Washington, and the District of Columbia planning to ban the sale of gasoline-powered vehicles by the year 2035. So so all these states are saying that within 10 years, no more what they call ICE engine. You know what an ICE engine is?
No.
Internal combustion.
Oh.
ICE. Oh. Internal combustion engine.
Okay, it makes sense.
So it's ICE.
I should have known.
Yeah, they love to call
just
them,
never heard it put that way.
They love to call them ICE engines now. So they want to have all these zero emission vehicles. And does that sound realistic to you? In 10 years' time, that these states are not going to have any gasoline-powered cars? That it's all going to be electric vehicles?
So this, I didn't read. I don't know what article you read, but the article that I grabbed was Biden cracks down on diesel trucks in bid of fight of climate change, reduce emissions. Same premise. Didn't say anything about all electric, but I'm looking at it as, in my fire department, we have diesel engines, which we need diesel exhaust fluid, which is super expensive for one. But the way, and that's their way of knocking down emissions. But if you start changing the way all of those are going to work, in the description of this podcast, I said, well, good luck getting your goods, whatever it is you're getting, without the prices skyrocketing, because there's no fucking way. No way. They've already put a noose around the trucking industry's neck to deliver things, because those trucks have to sit for a period of time, whether they're running or they'll hit a regen period. It's gonna push everything back a little bit. Now you want to make it to where it's a zero carbon footprint. Zero. There's no fucking way. You're never going to make it.
Well, of course you're not going to make it.
That's a benchmark that you're never going to make, but you're going to make the American people pay more to try to get there to an unattainable goal.
Well, it's going to absolutely destroy the trucking industry.
Yes.
You know, you've got a brand new tractor these days goes for what, between 130, 170, I guess 200 grand or more. That's a diesel powered tractor, and that's just the front part of the truck. The front part's called the tractor, back part's called the trailer, tractor trailer, big rig. The EVs, the electric ones they want to sell, are going to be upwards starting at 300 grand. So you've got something that's double the price, has only about a third of the range, maybe less, weighs a hell of a lot more. So when you have that trailer attached to it, what does that do to the amount of cargo you can carry? Because you've got all the weight of those giant, batteries the size of the room that we're sitting in.
Yeah.
What does that do to that? And then, I mean, think about that. You've got, and those batteries, if you've got to go uphill, if you've got to go downhill, if you have to run the heat, if you got to run the air conditioning, that just drains your mileage off of that. And as a trucker, when you go into a truck stop, you stop to get fuel, you want to get back on the road again as soon as you possibly can. And now instead of doing that, you're going to sit for 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, 10 hours to recharge your truck battery. I mean, the cost of everything
and you're
is literally
about,
going to go
you're
through the
talking
roof.
about a truck battery.
That's just for trucks,
let alone the cars that we hear.
It's
the
ridiculous.
Stories. But Bosco, our buddy, Forever Podcast, check his podcast out, by the way. He said, I'm a diesel mechanic, so I'm out of work. It's fucking ridiculous. And we need to have him on. We need to have him back on to talk about, with this. Because between him and I, my fire department being all diesel run trucks outside of our ambulances, but he works over the road trucking mechanic. He is the forefront of our goods getting somewhere, whatever it may be. And you start messing with that, this world's going to go into a tailspin.
Yeah, but when you pull up to a fire scene, and you've got a pumper there, right? So the pump on that truck runs by what? The engine from the truck, right?
Correct.
You've got what's called a PTO, a power takeoff.
Correct.
You engage that engages the pump, and the pump pumps the water out so you can do what? Fight the fire.
Yep.
The amount of energy that takes to do that would drain a battery in a matter of minutes. Could you imagine trying to fight a fire on a battery-operated truck?
Los Angeles is doing it right now on a pilot program.
Not very well, I don't think.
I don't think it's going very well.
It's going to cost lives. It is literally, people are going to die because of these EV mandates. That's the bottom line. It's going to kill people.
Will Craig just said, my truck I use at work is a diesel. For what I do, it wouldn't work on electric. It wouldn't. It's just it not feasible. And when you look at, all right, so hypothetically, let's just say everything goes to electric. What do you do with those batteries? We talked about it before. What do you do with those batteries? Those batteries have to go somewhere. You can recondition to a point, but then now we're putting fucking hazmat into a fucking landfill. Yeah. There's no way to recycle that. No way. So here we are in this juxtaposition of an idiot commander-in-chief wanting to make everything electric and make everything sound like the Jetsons as we're fucking driving around a fucking neighborhood, and versus versatility in the way things actually work and have get out of a Senate room or now the Oval Office and realize how things actually fucking work in the real world.
All right. So I'll go ahead and say it. One more and I'm out of here.
Well, shit, you could grab me one, you dick.
Well, I didn't know you needed one. And that means it's a good time to talk about our friends at Engraved in USA.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, it's a great time.
It is.
As I'm ready to fucking do that. Yep.
And I know one thing that in a couple of Mondays from now, I will not be working because I will be viewing the eclipse. And I hope to have my eclipse mug, courtesy of Engraved in USA, in my hand, watching the eclipse. I mean, this is a great product that they've come out with just a couple of weeks ago. And take a look at that. How cool is that? What a great design.
Great design.
Great keepsake for the eclipse. It's got the date on there, so you'll remember it forever. And the thing about this mug is, if 17 ounces? Is that the number?
I think so. Yes, I believe.
So you can fill it with your favorite beverage, watch the eclipse in style, and 15, 20, 100 years from now, when the next eclipse comes, you can pull it out again, and it will look as good on that day as it does on the day that you purchase it. That's because they've got such high-quality products. They do such a great job, and they have been a great friend of our podcast for a long, long time now.
We lied. They're 12.
12 ounces?
12 ounces.
12 ounces. Okay. But still, it's a beautiful cup. And again, just a very small sampling of the outstanding and high-quality products that you can get from Engraved in USA. Go to their website. It's engravedinusa.com, and you can find all kinds of One More and I'm Out of Here merchandise there as well. So we encourage you to stock up on all that stuff. And again, we appreciate everything that Engraved in USA, Rich and the entire crew there has done. You've got all their names, so I don't want to forget any of their names. But
well, I'm gonna throw in for the Eclipse Cup, $6 per 12-ounce metal Eclipse cups. Every cup sold, $1 will go to Herking's Heroes, which goes to the Herking family. So
that's even better.
If you do order one, don't forget to mention Herking's Heroes, and those orders can go to orders@engravedinusa.com.
I think this beer can has a hole in it.
I think it does. It sure looks like it.
I mean, it's got other than the one that's supposed to be there.
But yeah, no, we appreciate everybody from Engraved. They've been fantastic, and the fact that they made those cups, I think it's cool as shit.
All right, so today is Friday. We hope everyone has a good weekend. Thank you for watching. Hit the like button.
Happy Easter.
What do you? Oh, that's right. Easter is this weekend.
Easter is this weekend.
I know.
I'll be working.
I've got to go to the grocery store with my wife tonight because she wants to make a big breakfast on Sunday.
That sounds terrible.
And she wants to color Easter eggs.
That sounds terrible.
So
all of it sounds terrible.
I'll find something to watch on TV and she can color Easter eggs.
I'm good with being at work on Easter.
NCAA basketball tonight. We've got that this weekend. And golf on TV. And maybe I'll play golf myself if the weather's okay. So we'll see what happens. Well, when are we going to be back here again? Do we know yet?
No. We're going to figure that out as soon as this is done.
Ooh.
So pay attention to the Instagram.
So we got business.
We got business to handle.
All right. But again, thanks for watching.
Hopefully
pray for Rob.
Pray for
Have
Rob.
A great weekend.
Hopefully you
Happy Easter.
Hopefully you like Dan's new mic and the banner.
And Jesus is risen from the dead.